2006, September 1st, Rick. Um, this is the part that changed your life and impacted you in ways that you probably still haven't fathomed to some extent. Walk me through that day, Rick, because there's there's sometimes like in people's lives where you wake up and you may feel like a little off. You know what I'm saying? Like something may not feel right and you're not sure what it is, but then you go throughout the day and something happens and you're just like, that is what it was. Walk me through this day for you. Was there any of that I just described?
Well, so, that was 9 months into my deployment. I felt that way every single day when I first got there.
Yeah.
Every day we felt that. And I would, we prayed every day before we went out. We would get all together and, at least in our vehicle, everybody in our vehicle would pray about, going out on that mission. And 9 months in, you didn't do that anymore. Just because it was just every day. It was just like, okay, this is our job. In the beginning, it was like every day you thought about it, you thought about it, you thought about it. 9 months in, it was just like, okay, it's time to go out on our mission. And that's what we did. And so I don't think there was any of that day, but there were other days that I felt that a lot. And, things did happen, not just to me, but to a lot of the other guys as well. So that day, though, I didn't feel it, but it was a day just like every other day. Loading up in the vehicle with my buddies, Sergeant Montez, Specialist Lowe, myself, and going out on a mission.
Walk me through how it happened, Rick.
Yeah, I mean, that's the day everything changed. And now today, I will tell you everything changed for the better, but that's not how I saw it that day, certainly. So September 1st, 2006, when we were out on a patrol on a road we had been on many times before, and I was in a Bradley fighting vehicle, which is basically a smaller tank. And we were the fifth vehicle in our convoy, which there were only five in the convoy. So that means we were last in the convoy, which also means that we are rear security, which means you're staring backwards and all you can see is dust that's being kicked up from all the other vehicles. So not the best position to be in. So we decided to move up to be the fourth vehicle. And when we moved up to be the fourth vehicle, about 2 minutes later is when our vehicle was hit with an IED. And IED is an improvised explosive device, and it's basically a bomb that was never intended to be buried underneath the ground. It was meant to be shot out of the air, but they buried it under the ground. My vehicle ran over it, and it exploded, and it went through the bottom of my vehicle up into the turret where I was sitting. And the big problem with that was the fact that the turret also has our fuel tank, and it hit the fuel tank, and it covered me in fuel, and instantly I was on fire, and so were my buddies, and we all had to get out. And the first thing I knew I had to do was get out, so I climbed through the top, and thank God that day I left the top open, the hatch above me open. Normally I did not because we weren't supposed to. That day I did. So I left it open. I climbed through the top. Once I got to the top, I knew the next thing I had to do was I had to get to the ground. But there was big problems with that. First one was 10 feet to the ground. And that's easy to imagine because the rim on a basketball hoop is 10 feet off of the ground. So long jump to the ground. Bigger problem though was the fact that I was blind. And that's because my face was on fire and the fire was covering my eyes. I couldn't see. So, we talk about taking leaps of faith in our life, and that was a true leap of faith I had to take. I just had to jump, hope I would make it to the ground, and that's what I did. I did make it to the ground, but when I landed on the ground, I couldn't brace myself for the landing because I couldn't see it. So when I landed, I actually broke my leg very badly, yeah, below my knee, and I ended up with an amputation below my knee later on in the hospital. Um, so no, I did the first two steps of survival. I got out of the vehicle and I got to the ground, but now I got to put the fire out and stop, drop, and roll is what we were all taught to do. And that's what I did. And it's the only thing I knew to do in that moment. And it didn't work because there was too much fuel and too much fire. And most regrettable thing in my life came next. And that's when I just laid on my back and I stared up into the sky and I accepted the fact that I would die. I couldn't put that fire out. I couldn't stand up and run. My leg was broken. And even if I could, where was I going? My face was on fire. So I gave up. And when I talk to students in schools, I talk about hope in this point because I gave up on something extremely important. It's something that we all carry with us every day. And it's what moves us forward every day. And that's hope. And we say that hope stands for hold on, possibilities exist. And sometimes it's hard to see those possibilities that exist for the future, even especially when we're going through something really difficult. But I can tell you that the possibilities are amazing if you choose to find amazing possibilities. I just didn't know that at the moment, and I gave up. But thankfully, it was only for a second because I ended up rolling in one direction, and I actually ended up falling into a canal that was there. A
Wow.
canal that I didn't know was there, and it put the
Wow.
fire out, saved my life.
You know, Rick, one, thank you for sharing that, man. My faith has gotten me through a lot of things in life, and still gets me through a lot of things in life, a lot of dark moments. The fact that you didn't know a canal was there and a canal was there, that's not coincidence to me. I don't really believe in that. Uh,
No,
and the fact that you're here, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a testimony of God's grace on you.
yeah.
Rick,